Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into a feeling that pretty much every single one of us has felt, loneliness. But what if I told you that the cure for it has absolutely nothing to do with being around other people? Yeah, let's get into it. So our journey today starts with a story. A 65-year-old man calls up the speaker from our source material. And this guy, by every measure, had won the game of life. His kids were successful, he had wealth, property, respect, you name it, he had it. And yet, this is what he confessed. After all that, he felt profoundly, deeply lonely. And right there, that sets up this incredible paradox, doesn't it? How can a life so jam-packed with people and success and all these experiences still feel so empty? The way he described the feeling himself is just so powerful. He told the speaker that he tried everything to run away from this feeling. Going on trips, surrounding himself with friends, just scrolling through endless videos online. But all of that stuff, it was just a temporary patch. The second the distraction stopped, that feeling of emptiness came rushing right back. It really makes you ask this central question. Now, this is the analogy he used, and it is just brilliant. He said his loneliness felt like having a paralyzed leg. Just think about that for a second. It's still attached to you, it's part of your body, but you have no connection to it. You can't feel it. It's become separate. He felt like his own successful life was this healthy, functioning body, but he was the disconnected limb, completely unable to feel like he was a part of it all. And this is where we get to the absolute core of this entire explainer. See, the source draws this huge, crucial distinction between two words that sound almost the same: loneliness and aloneness. They might sound similar, but believe me, they are worlds apart. And understanding this difference, it's the key to everything. Okay, so on one side, you've got loneliness. That's a state of mind. It's that choppy, fragmented feeling where you constantly think something is missing. It's this worldly experience of just lack. But then you have aloneness. That's described as a spiritual experience, a state of no mind, where you feel totally whole, complete. The overwhelming feeling isn't that something is missing, but that what is here right now is more than enough. So, if loneliness isn't really about the absence of people, then what is it? Well, the source argues it's just a symptom of a much deeper habit, a mental condition we could call the disease of waiting. Here it is, the big idea. Loneliness is, at its heart, the act of waiting. It's that constant, nagging feeling that your happiness, your sense of being complete, is just around the corner. It'll show up once that person texts back, or once you get that new job, or once something finally happens to fill that void. There's this perfect little parable that makes it all so clear. Imagine a baby is crying. Someone tries to help and gives her a toy. She might stop for a minute, but then she starts crying again. Okay, so they put on her favorite cartoon. She watches for a bit, and then, yep, she starts crying again. See, the problem is that the baby isn't crying for a toy or a cartoon. She's crying for her mother. And until she gets what she truly needs, no distraction in the world is going to work. And that is exactly what we do as adults, right? This waiting game just creates this endless cycle of disappointment. The source even tells a story about a man who spends his entire life just agitated, waiting for this national award he thinks he deserves. Every single year, when the list comes out and his name isn't on it, he's crushed. His whole life has just become about this one act of waiting. Okay, so if the disease is waiting, then the cure has to be its opposite, right? It's got to be about being fully present. And there's another incredible story from the source that shows us exactly how. So a group of travelers gets completely, hopelessly lost in a deep, dark forest. Their food is running low, they're terrified, they start turning on each other. They're stumbling through the woods thinking this is the end, when suddenly they see something that makes no sense at all. A man, just sitting calmly on a rock, totally at peace in the middle of all this chaos. Totally baffled, they go up to him and ask the question we'd all ask. How on earth can you be so calm and happy right here? And his answer, this is the punchline for this whole explainer. He just looks at them and says, I am not waiting for anybody. He wasn't waiting to be rescued. He wasn't waiting for the storm to pass. He wasn't waiting for anything. He was simply there.
And that really gets to the very heart of it. Real contentment, what the Source here calls spirituality, isn't about finally getting the thing you've been waiting for. No, it's about being completely liberated from the state of waiting itself.
Of course, that all sounds great, but it's way easier said than done. I mean, it's one thing to get it as an idea, but how do we actually do it? How do we break a habit we've been practicing our entire lives? Well, the Source has a really interesting take on this. It says the root of all this waiting is a mental habit of counting. The mind that waits is always counting, chopping life up into little pieces. I've heard this song 10 times already, and that's what leads to boredom. But the mind that is present, it doesn't count. It just has one continuous experience. Every moment is new, and that song you love, it feels like you're hearing it for the very first time, every single time. So this brings it all back home. It turns the camera back around on us. The cure for that empty, lacking feeling isn't something out there you have to find. It's right here, inside, and it's all about shifting how we see things. All right, so let's recap the big takeaways first. Loneliness isn't about who isn't around you, it's about that internal feeling of waiting. Second, all those distractions are like giving a toy to a baby who just needs her mom. They don't fix the real problem. Third, that true contentment, that state of aloneness, is all about being free from waiting. And finally, one way to get there is to stop counting your experiences and start living life as one unbroken, continuous moment. And so we are left with one final, very powerful question to take with us. The next time you feel that little pang of loneliness, that ache that something is missing, instead of reaching for your phone or some other distraction, just stop and ask yourself this: what am I waiting for? The answer might just change everything.